New intro. So much love and appreciation to those of you who have been with me for the 2 year period plus that I've been doing this. Thank you for showing your love and support to the channel. And to anybody else who is brand new to the platform and you would like to support the channel, also, you can do it by way of Patreon, Anchor, the clothing store, and also the shoe shop that is listed in the comment description below. And again, thank you to any and all of you guys who have been here to support this channel during the 2+ year period. I wouldn't be able to do what I do every single day without you.
Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country.
We need to address, well, first of all, no, I don't think America is a racist country.
Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors voted unanimously on July 13th to move ahead on returning beachfront property taken from a black family nearly 100 years ago. Quote, "We cannot achieve racial equity until we confront our past and make it right. The descendants of Charles and Willa Bruce have been fighting for years for restitution after a Manhattan Beach City Council confiscated the land from the couple back in 1924. At the time when beaches across America were segregated, the Bruces established a West Coast resort known as Bruce Beach Lodge, that acted as a safe place for black travelers to enjoy the water without facing racial discrimination. Quote, "It was a very important place because there was no other place along the coast of California where African Americans could actually go and enjoy the water. The property was purchased back in 1912 for roughly $1,000, but officials estimated it is now worth $75 million. The Bruces own parcels 8 and 9 in Block 5, bordered by 26th and 27th Street and Manhattan Avenue and the Strand. The land was acquired through eminent domain in 1924 by the Manhattan Beach City Council under the pretext that a public park would be built there. However, the city never touched the land, which was ultimately transferred to the state in 1948 and then to the county in 1995. The land is now home to the LA County Lifeguard Training Center. Quote, "They just didn't want an influx of black people because the resort was starting to draw more blacks. Losing the property was a massive blow to the family's wealth. Quote, not only were they stripped of their property, they lost their businesses and they spent the rest of their lives working for someone else." Willa Bruce's great great grandson Anthony walks to work and doesn't own a car after serving in the military. Quote, "We haven't had the opportunity to buy homes and whatever. We're mostly living below the poverty line here still after 96 years. Although the Manhattan Beach City Council hasn't issued an apology for stealing the land nearly 100 years ago, according to the family, an apology isn't the ultimate goal. Quote, "The Bruce family is not interested in an apology. We want the restoration of our land. We want restitution for the loss of revenue that we would have had for 96 years. And we want punitive damages." Manhattan Beach City Council and the Manhattan Police Department colluding with the KKK Klan terrorized our family. Shepard doubled down on the demand for restitution following the board's recent ruling, speaking out by saying, quote, "Our next step will be, once we get the land restored to us, it is to go after them for the restitution, for the loss of revenue for 96 years of our family from the businesses, the loss of generational wealth, and the punitive damages for their collusion with the KKK in disenfranchising our family. The plan approved by the county board includes assessing the property's worth, determining who the legal heirs are, and limiting the property tax burden on the family." The funny part about this is that you would have certain black people out here, even with this information given, they would still try to deflect and excuse away the fact that racism took place, that racism is a standardized practice that takes place in America. And they will try to say that, oh, well, nothing in the story stated specifically that it had to do with race, but that, the property was taken by, these government entities and then transferred to these government entities. So at the end of the day, it didn't have anything to do with race, but it was obviously a mistake, right? That's how they would try to paint it. But when you look back and you see that, in fact, that it took place back in the 1920s, and then you decide to go back and look at, the KKK and all these other organizations that were around during those times. And then as they listed, the fact that segregation took place and that you had these two, hardworking, right? Black man and black woman together put together $1,000, which I'm pretty sure back during those times is pretty hard to actually, come up on. And they were like, you know what, we're going to buy this property. They bought it for $1,000. I'm pretty sure that at that point in time, they didn't have the foresight to really believe that this property was going to be worth 75, if not more, millions of dollars in the future for, the next generation coming up. I'm pretty sure they weren't really, trying to assess it like that. They saw a need, right? They looked at the black community and they were like, you know what? We don't want black people to have to face discrimination. We don't want to have them to have to face through bigotry and a lot of racism. So we're going to put our money together and we're going to benefit and actually do something and help the community. We're not going to rely on the state. We're not going to rely on the government. We're not going to rely on the judicial system. We're going to do it ourselves and from the ground up. And as they stated directly in the article, the reason why the land was taken was because they were going to start to see an influx of more African Americans to that area, which is something that they didn't want to happen. And on top of that, you also had black people that were doing for themselves. They were making money without the government. And that's something also that they don't want to take place either. And then on top of that, you would have two, right? A black man and a black woman coming together who are married who are empowering not only themselves but their own people. And them, in a sense, with all of that power, would then make them to be a force to be reckoned with, would then also turn them into leaders. And yet again, that is something that the government does not want to take place. So, regardless of whatever people want to say about, oh, the government is trying to make you self reliant and all these, no, they're not, because they told you, the family told you in the article what took place. They were working for themselves. They had their own thing established. And then the government came and took all of that away and made them reliant on both government and on them having to basically work the rest of their lives for somebody else. Like I said, to be self-sufficient was never meant for black people to do. It was always meant for us to work for this country. It was always meant for us to work for them. But when it comes to the reflective majority, when it comes to European descendants, when it comes to those true Americans, the rules of being self-sufficient and being an entrepreneur was always made specifically for them to be the ones to be successful at. But like I said before, maybe I'm just maybe I'm just race baiting here, right? Right. This story had, nothing to do with race. Nothing in this article said anything about race. Obviously, Seiji is just making some stuff up just to spin some type of narrative to, be further divisive, as they like to say in the comment section, and to cause a further divide in America. Because obviously that divide was never there before I was here to begin with. I'm the one that caused that. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this story and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.